get into why I said it that way. These spheres connect time via the days and the planets to human perception, the 7 chakras, and bodily influence, what our brothers in Haiti call penchant, or hot points in the body. These jewels exist in spaces in your body. They are the dormant deities living in your flesh. Next slide. Brother Rich, do me a favor. Run your mouse over the bottom right part of the screen of the slide.
The way it's set up, it's already downloaded in StreamYard, so I don't even know how to do that. Yeah, I'm not sure because I'm not sharing a screen. If I was sharing my screen on the desktop, I could do that. I done downloaded it in StreamYard, so I'm not sharing the screen. It's just your actual presentation. Yeah.
Got you. Wow. Okay. Is it a way to share? Nah, I can't do it. Oh, that's so unfortunate. You know what, though, brother? They might be able to hear my screen. You hear me?
What? Oh, you wanted to play something?
That's a video.
Oh no, you got to be careful anyway with the audio because of the copyright on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah. I'll get a especially if is this video already on YouTube?
It's already on YouTube.
Yeah. So you can't. Yeah, because my channel's monetized, so it'll get a strike.
Say no more. Yeah. I'm not going to get you in trouble, brother. All right, say no more. Wow, unfortunate, but that's okay. This is what I'm gonna do, brother. I'm gonna send you the actual link to the actual video.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna send you the actual link to the actual video, and when I show that, let me see. Hold on. Richard Hoagland, Mars. Richard Hoagland, UN. Let me do it that way. Okay. While I'm looking at this United Nations, Richard Hoagland, you see the gentleman in the slide. Richard Hoagland is what was a spokesperson for Jet Propulsion's laboratory, NASA's Jet Propulsion's laboratory. In 1991, he did a presentation, a briefing at the United Nations. The still of the video you're looking at right there is part of the actual presentation. All right. Richard Hoagland presented to the United Nations about what NASA and Jet Propulsion's laboratory found in the Cydonia region of Mars, the area of the so-called face on Mars. They found very quickly that the real big enigma, the real big mystery wasn't the so-called face on Mars at all. It was a series of structures, and I'm saying that purposefully, structures to the southwest of the face. One of them in particular is called the DNM pyramid, a 5-sided pentagonal pyramid. And so what are they looking for, of course? They're looking for signs of intelligent design. And what is the number one indicator of intelligent design? Mathematical redundancy. And sure enough, they found so much mathematical redundancy in the DNM pyramid and in the other structures that they're no longer, trust me, they're no longer even questioning whether it was designed intelligently. Their question now is this particular mathematical number that kept popping up. And what is the meaning of that number? Next slide. All right. This is it, people. The number that kept popping up, oh, y'all, I know y'all see the bottom of the screen, the bottom picture, right? I told you we was going to get to Terrence Howard. Listen, the number that kept popping up in their calculations and measurements of the DNM pyramid and the other structures was 19.5. That's what kept popping up. Do you see that? You see the upper right of the slide? Okay. Now let's look at the slide itself, the wording. A hypersphere, tetrahedral dynamics. What is a hypersphere, people? And again, one of the things that I strive to do in studying a lot of this stuff that's considered high-level science or whatever is be able to explain it so that the average person can understand. You know why? Because the average person can understand it. That's why. We're not going to say that the average human being is stupid, right? Okay, a hypersphere is a sphere that exists in multiple dimensions. That's what it is. Now, prior to Jet Propulsion's NASA doing its flyover of with the Voyager spacecraft of the North Pole of Saturn, right? Prior to that, hypersphere research was done mathematically on paper. Okay. So a hypersphere is the four-dimensional analog of a sphere. It has a 3D surface. In other words, if it exists on higher planes, there's certain things that you will be able to see in 3 dimensions. So it has a 3D surface that curves into 4D space. It is the set of points equidistant from a fixed central point. It is powered by an internal tetrahedron or 2 interlocking tetrahedra, which we all know to be what people call a Merkaba, right? Okay. It produces 3D shadows to indicate its existence on higher planes. In other words, how would you know you're looking at a hypersphere in 3D? Well, because that's where we are. Our existence in 3D. You would know it because you would see an outwelling of energy at 19.5 degrees latitude, opposite of the pole. You would see an inwelling of energy at the pole, right? At the pole, you see an inwelling of energy. And that inwelling would be visible in 3D as a hexagon shape at the pole. Well, guess what, people? The majority of sunspot activity happens at 19.5 degrees north and south equator of the sun. Mount Kilauea in Hawaii, 19.5 degrees south latitude. Olympus Mons on Mars, 19.5 degrees north latitude, the largest volcano in the solar system. The Great Red Spot on Jupiter, the spot on Saturn. I can go on and on and on. So we have multiple examples, physical examples of the outwelling of energy. Well, now we also have physical evidence of the inwelling of energy, at least on the planet Saturn. This is what Terrence Howard was talking about. Next slide. Oh, hold on. Look at the bottom of this slide. The chakra system is a set of 7 hyperspheres in the human body. The next slide. I am so upset that I cannot show these videos. I am so upset that I can't show these videos. But that's okay. You all saw them or saw one of them. Terrence Howard, Richard Hoagland, and Saturn. See, here's the problem. You got a whole bunch of people that are calling Terrence Howard a quack and calling him, calling him a quack. Like he don't know what he's talking about, right? It's real funny. I had a conversation with one of these individuals. They were going crazy on my social media, talking about, oh, he's a quack and blah, 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 right? And all I said was what Terrence Howard said about using a computer simulation to recreate Saturn, right? And that Saturn was created from the outside in with the hexagon shape agrees 100% with NASA and Jet Propulsion's laboratory and the report by Richard Hoagland in 1991. All kinds of people try to jump. He's a quack. He don't know what he's talking about. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, whoa 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 whoa. Are y'all saying Richard Hoagland and NASA doesn't know what they're talking about, or Terrence Howard? See, the real problem is Terrence Howard looks like us. So you don't have a problem so much with what he said. You have a problem with the fact that Terrence Howard said it. That's the real issue.
Damn.
See what I'm saying? That's the real issue. Bottom line is cutting edge scientific discoveries, right? What he spoke to were cutting edge scientific discoveries that are simultaneously in line with special access programs and ancient technology. He presented solid evidence of the reality and the function of hyperspheres on the macro level. In other words, remember what I said before about planetary spheres? The planetary sphere is the 4D version of the 3D planet. See? Do you realize that the planet Saturn and your crown chakra are connected?
Damn, Saturn in the crown.
I told y'all to take screenshots of the slides. They're connected on the higher realms, people. Okay? Terrence Howard reproduced this. It wasn't just Terrence Howard. Other people did it too. They reproduced it via computer simulation. Key thing, revelation of this type of knowledge is by design. In other words, this is 2024. The fact that this is even public, the fact that Terrence Howard was even allowed to speak on it, tells you that we are very close to disclosure. The revelation of this type of knowledge is by design to challenge the current mainstream narrative and thus will be attacked by the mainstream narrative. Next slide.
Look how strange that.
Whoops. There we go. All right. In the Arabic, this word is called al-nafas. In our faith tradition, it's called the holy breath. What is that? Uh-oh. It is in the old tradition, using those words, the vibratory steam is the means by which human beings have and may obtain dominion. It gives all beings their existence, describes the evanescent nature of existence in its state of constant change and renewal. Let me give you an example of that to explain it, because I know that was a lot of words. In your house, your walls are not moving. Hopefully, they're not moving. But the electricity is moving, isn't it? What if the electricity stood still? That's called a short. That means your house is on fire. You understand? You want the energy to stay moving. So remember we talked before about going from objects with our thought to processes in motion, people. See? Okay. We say in our tradition, right? Allah breathes out. And we, in other words, our physical expressions are the words he breathes out. We are the forms, and Allah is the meaning of the forms, but we draw our source from there. Therefore, we and the source are one. Isn't that what Jesus told the Pharisees? I and my Father are one. They wanted to kill him. All right. In the old Sufi Islamic tradition, there's something called karb, which means distress. It is the metaphysical state of pressure and yearning for release, which occurs for non-existent entities just before their creation. It is the divine sigh of what we call in Arabic, nafas al-Rahmani, which means the creative fate or creative fiat, which removes the distress and the creative tension by bestowing entities with existence. Do you all understand? I know intrinsically some of you are kind of figuring, or you're able to apprehend what I'm talking about on a micro level. You know what I'm talking about on a micro level, people? The energy and the feeling and the sense of orgasm just before you release and create. That's what we're talking about. All right. The adept, listen close. In other words, the spiritually skilled individual, while fulfilling his duties to creation, experience this distress or card in reverse. In other words, desiring to be freed from the karmic cycle of reincarnation so as to fulfill his or her role as Khalifa or vicegerent. In other words, the representative of Allah, the creator, inside creation, with the choice to manifest in flesh or on the higher planes at will. Do you know what I just described to you all, people? The real reason why they had to trick up the story of Jesus. That's why. I just described it to you. Religious texts as both energies and living things. I said it before, here it is again. The presence of energy brings information. We all have experienced this before. You go into a room and the whole energy changes, or somebody else comes in the room and the energy changes. And you can read the energy. Well, the fact that you can read the energy means that there's information in the energy. See that? And the presence of information signals what? The presence of intelligence. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said it this way: every word I speak is spirit, and you Moors better take heed. Next slide. Application. See, all this stuff may sound good, and I've shown references, and I've all this stuff, sure. But if it's not practical, it's not real. Or if it's, I take that back. If it's not practical to you, it's not useful to you. Elements as energies and qualities of energy or intelligences. Elements as, last slide, conclusions. Thought is encompassed by a geometric schema. In other words, philosophies shape thought, and it shapes it in a geometric shape. Philosophies have varying geometric structures. Thought applied to a particular philosophy acquires the geometry of the philosophy. Thus, philosophy shapes reality via the engine of human consciousness. Philosophy can modify human consciousness, either reduce it or expand it. The European psychology, what do you think that did to us? Reduced it or expanded it? Okay. Shaped consciousness downloads into the self at the soul and flesh levels eventually. Soul, we mean energetic, modifying both. Philosophies are engines capable of inducting energies and transducing them into the body to alter consciousness, to alter bioenergy, and alter the physical function. In other words, just being exposed to the philosophy can change your flesh. We have concluded, dear brother.
Wow, man. This was a big one today.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. This was a big one today. I'm gonna take a couple of questions. All right, what y'all thought about that?
I didn't take my jacket off, brother.
What y'all think about that? Oh man, let me get rid of a troll here. All right. Yeah, give me some questions for the brother Sharif Bey. Give me some questions for the brother Sharif Bey. We're gonna take a couple of questions before we get out of here.
Yes.
I want to hear a little more before I get to the questions from the people.
Yes.
I want you to expound on Saturn and the importance of Saturn in this realm. A lot of people are scared of Saturn. You study the occult, you study the metaphysics. It scares the shit out of people. I mean, it scares the living shit out of people. You mention Saturn, some of these niggas might shit on themselves if you mention Saturn too many times. Right. So we know that there's a lot of misinformation. We know a lot of times that the very thing they teach us to be afraid of is the thing that we need to investigate and learn more about. So considering what you said and Terrence said about Saturn, and how important is it to talk to me about its connection to this realm, and what type of relationship should we have with this energy that we call Saturnian energy.
Saturnian, on a very simple level, you could just say what goes around comes around. Saturn is the great task maker.
Okay.
Right? Don't learn your lesson today, it will be around tomorrow. Saturn, so in that, think about it in that respect, you would ask about reincarnation. That's how it's governed. Reincarnate. Saturn energy governs reincarnation.
Right.
Because the whole purpose of reincarnation is for you, which you are already eternal. You are here to learn some lessons. You don't learn them, you're back again to learn them. If you don't complete them, you come back to complete them. See that? The whole idea of avatars, and I don't mean avatars like, I mean an avatar like a Christ or a genius, right? They like Buddha, for instance. When Buddha reached what he called nirvana or Gautama Buddha, after he meditated on the Bodhi tree, he was like, yes, I made it in the Buddhist tradition. And then those who had gone before him said, yeah, get back down there in your body under that tree. So now you have a task to teach humanity. See that? Okay. So what, and in the Buddhist tradition, in the Hindu tradition, they have what they call samsara, which is the wheel of reincarnation, right?